Any day now, it'll be the 5th anniversary of Super Mario Odyssey, the game that single-handedly reinvigorated my love for Nintendo, which had kinda sat dormant in my mind for a good few years, in favour of stuff like Doctor Who. Oh yeah, that was still a thing then. So join me today in a personal and, dare I say, nostalgic look back at the game that revitalised 3D Mario. I always find Mario games are a good way to measure the passage of time. I have these fuzzy yet familiar memories of the Galaxy games during junior school. Then I remember being really excited to get 3D Land and World for Christmas during secondary school. By the time Odyssey came around, this marked the beginning of the college years. Without doubt the most enjoyable time of my life really. But it was at this point that I stopped and reflected on my childhood basically. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'd actually matured somewhat, and instead of, yay, fun Mario game, my thoughts were now, holy shit, this is significant. I mean, when was the last time I even played? Oh my god, the Wii! Technically, the last games I'd played were Yoshi's Woolly World and Super Mario Maker on Wii U in 2015, so there wasn't actually a massive time gap in retrospect. But Nintendo's game output basically ground to a halt in 2016, and so did my interest in the company. Following the announcement of this new hybrid console called Nintendo Switch, everyone was talking about Nintendo again. Although I wanted to get one immediately out of pure fascination, it wasn't until more and more of this new 3D Mario game was shown that I decided I needed this console. Upon the first trailer's release, I remember a flood of comments comparing the early arrangement of Fossil Falls to the grandeur of Gusty Garden Galaxy, and I was like, that name seems familiar, I'll do a quick YouTube search. Meanwhile, half of the internet interpreted it as Mario roaming an open world city for the whole game, with this video titled Super Real Mario Odyssey, which recreated the now iconic trailer in Grand Theft Auto, going viral. This sense of identity is what the previous few Mario games had been lacking. As solid platformers as 3D Land and World are, it's generally agreed that these played things very safe in terms of what you'd expect from Mario, whereas Odyssey draws more upon earlier titles such as Galaxy and Sunshine that establish their own unique themes and go to town with them, which in this instance was globetrotting. But the promotion of the game was second to none, with these amazing trailers, then those kind of trailers, and this massive launch event at the Nintendo store in New York, the likes of which have never been seen since. Whilst I obviously wasn't there, the whole build up to the release of the game made it feel that much more special. I was so impressed that I based a college essay on media campaigns around that of Super Mario Odyssey. At this point I didn't know what a Nintendo Direct was, and prior to that I was just used to seeing adverts on TV, but I was that impatient that I recall just sitting and watching this Nintendo Treehouse gameplay I'd found on YouTube in awe. Around 9 months after its reveal, Super Mario Odyssey released on October 27th, 2017. I remember waking up stupidly early and being taken to a Smith store along with my brother, who was also excited. I was checking the stock on my phone, which gradually decreased as we got closer. When I finally got there, they had these big cardboard stands at the entrance which I got photos of, though they hadn't actually put the copies out yet as they were just being bought immediately. So I strolled up to the desk and was like, "Do you have Super Mario Odyssey please?" The woman at the desk seemed really cheerful, and then again everyone seemed cheerful that day. Maybe it was just me. Anyway, she reaches under the desk and procures a copy. You know, one of those purchases you're so happy to make that you almost don't feel the 40 quid slip from your wallet? Yeah, this is one of those. When I got home, I remember my brother sitting next to me as I inserted the cartridge and loaded the game, feeling what must have been a rush of serotonin, and I can weirdly recall the exact smell in the room. because we had this particular candle at the time. But anyway, now the scene's set, how was the game? Well, I remember seeing the opening cutscene and thinking this is like a goddamn movie. Little did I know what was to come. I was struck by the simplistic yet quickly responsive menu mirroring the Switch's own. But to cut to the chase, my god did Mario feel amazing to control. The implementation of Cappy was the most wonderful idea that nobody could have imagined would work, but boy did they make it work. Being a lovable sidekick character while simultaneously adding to Mario's moveset and completely reinventing the power-up concept all in one go. But what's the point of good controls if you don't have amazingly designed levels to traverse? The open world aspect of Odyssey was something many older fans were clamouring for, harkening back to the likes of 64 and Sunshine, but I was cautiously optimistic due to my previous experiences with Mario all being quite linear, though as it transpired, Odyssey literally is the best of both worlds. Each kingdom is vast and doesn't have you follow a set path, which can lead to confusion and boredom if not executed correctly, but Odyssey makes this seem impossible, bursting with captures that provide fresh mechanics, leading to the satisfying collection of moons. The stuff that sticks out to me the most are seemingly daft features like the snapshot mode, getting Mario into all kind of predicaments with various filters and you could zoom right in and the detail was still amazing. Similarly, the amiibo functionality was so cool. I just had to try every single one, and I remember Gold Mario actually working and being like, whoa, and just instantly hitting the capture button, which is the footage you're seeing now. But aside from this tomfoolery, I personally completed the main story in about a week, hoping not to have anything spoiled during this period. But then casually played through the expansive post-game content over the next few months. I didn't rush through anything, it was just chill. In fact, that's a lie, some of the later stuff was really challenging, but I loved how it was after the main game, so you didn't have to stress about it. Though there were tons more Easter eggs and general surprises if you did. I remember I had no idea about the Moon Kingdom, so that was a complete surprise that referenced the Galaxy games, but presented space in a new and unique way. As opposed to the grandeur and orchestral score, you just have this quiet emptiness. A more realistic approach, if you will, along with the floaty gravity and ambient sounds. But this reminds me of just how revolutionary the whole thing was at the time. Everything in Odyssey was based around real-life locations, so not only are the graphics stunning, but it creates this unique aesthetic that isn't quite reality and isn't quite Mario, but it is definitively Mario Odyssey. So 5 years on in 2022, what is the legacy of Super Mario Odyssey? Well, to put things into perspective, this game would have been in development during Nintendo's lowest point following the Wii U's failure. It was time to wipe the slate clean and innovate, which is exactly what both Odyssey and the Nintendo Switch as a console represent. This game couldn't just be another Mario. As the flagship franchise of Nintendo, it had to wow people enough to buy the system. In fact, elements of the Switch were actually designed around Odyssey's gameplay, as the development teams worked concurrently to determine what would work most effectively. Ever since, Nintendo has been rewarded for their dedication in terms of financial success, with the Switch outselling the Wii and the Odyssey quickly becoming the best-selling 3D Mario title of all time. But I can't help but think that due to the financial security, Nintendo is playing it safe once more. Odyssey feels like a turning point for the Mario franchise, as though we'd start to see these realistic graphics and Cappy become a staple of Mario's moveset. But all we've had is like Paulina's DLC for some lackluster sports games like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and it's as though these could have been released on the Wii in the early 2000s, because the characters look and sound like they always have. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think Odyssey shook things up in a really unique and interesting way, whilst maintaining what makes Mario, Mario. 5 years ago, I was convinced we'd be getting a sequel in the vein of Galaxy 2 a few years after the original. There just seemed to be so much untapped potential for a second adventure utilising the game's existing engine. But now they've re-released unremastered versions of 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, ported 3D World with Bowser's Fury, which is sort of the next 3D Mario, but it's also like DLC for 3D World. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. And although it's a solid game, it just didn't reach the heights of Odyssey for me. And I'm no longer certain that Nintendo could recapture that magic. But regardless of what the future holds, happy 5th anniversary to Super Mario Odyssey. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your own experiences with the game down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Nintendo content. Thanks for watching.